The iPhone 16 Pro is a fantastic filmmaking tool, not just because of its robust codecs, but the custom buttons that it now has on each side. It lets it act more like a camera and less like a phone. Before we begin there though, let's set up the camera to use its robust codecs. First, type in camera and select camera. We then want to select record video and select 4K at 60 frames per second. This is fantastic for all events, weddings, and run and gun situations. Make sure enhanced stabilization is turned on to enable its fantastic stabilization. After that, let's move on to formats. You have high efficiency format or H.265. This is a fantastic format if you are going to be editing your footage later. It's not very good at playing back on most computers or other phones. Select most compatible if you are a great medium between editing and a smaller codec, but that is playbackable on phones and computers. Make sure you have ProRes enabled with log for when you want to record and use ProRes as well as log. I would highly recommend leaving all of those on. To make sure none of these settings go away, click on Preserve Settings and enable all these selections, or whichever ones are pertinent for what you are trying to do. Okay, next we need to set up the first action button on the side of the phone. To do that, type in action. Don't know why I just took a screenshot. And you have a few options here. The one that we're going to need to do is customize the control button and the control menu to the Blackmagic app. Make sure you have the Blackmagic app downloaded before you begin this procedure. Select the capture selection and then select the Blackmagic app. Once that's done, it's committed to memory. And once we hold down the side button here next to the volume rocker, the Blackmagic app will be instantly booted. This is fantastic because you do not need to use your face unlock, as I'll show you now. Locked phone, boom. Now the camera is booted by just one selection of a button with no need for face unlock. So you can begin recording immediately without having to worry about face unlock not working or fumbling with your passcode. The next thing we would want to utilize is this camera control button on the side. Once booting the phone, you'll see if you slightly press down here, you'll get the options. For right now, we have exposure compensation. And when we rock back and forth, we change the exposure of the scene. I'll have an example of this on screen now. This, I think, is the best option of all the options you can select, as it allows you to get that perfect exposure that the camera doesn't always get from its automatic metering. To change this setting though, double-click twice slowly, and you can change between exposure, depth or the f-stop, zoom, which I wouldn't recommend, cameras, which is also a useful one. To enable that, click softly down on the button again. We can now toggle between the different cameras. This is maybe the best option if you are only using the iPhone by itself and not pairing it with another camera. Change it again, you double tap on it softly. Not to indent or press down on the button, but to almost in a capacitive sense, very light double tap. So what we want though is change it back to the f-stop. So another light double tap, or in touch style or tone, you want to set those up before you begin filming. Go back to exposure and a light tap to confirm its selection. What's great about this is when we boot the Blackmagic app by holding down the action button, the exposure compensation is also inbuilt with the app as well, not just the native app. Okay, at that point, you should be good to go and your phone completely set up for professional filmmaking. But if you're still unsure about which codec to use in which situation, click the video that's on the screen now.